Hey, what's going on out there, folks? Looking at another mobile amp today. This is a oldie but a goodie, I guess you'd say. Bilateral 4-power Dx400. Does have sidebands. You can see there's sideband switch right here. There's our delay. Audio. Relative output meter does work. It's got a crack in it here, but I mean, what would you expect for an amp this old? This one's in decent shape. Lettering's faded, but the lights all do work on the front. Preamp does work. I've already tested it. I would show you in the video, but it's kind of a aggravating deal to test the preamp in the video, but rest assured it does work. This is a 4-transistor amp. I haven't had the lids off of it. I would assume 2290s, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's missing a screw out of it here. Came missing a screw. I didn't lose it because, again, I haven't had the lids off of it. Looking at the wiring back here, it could probably use a wiring upgrade coming out the back. It's got some pretty small wire coming out here. So, you know, if you're going to keep it, might be something you consider doing. And also, it does have a red wire coming off the negative. So be careful. If I leave this on here, I may end up cutting this off just to be safe, just so somebody doesn't make a mistake. And I'm not saying anybody is dumb or insulting the intelligence of anybody, but it's easy to just not even look at the wire coming out the back and just look at this red wire and think, oh, positive, and hook it up and it be negative, and there you are. You've cooked your amp because you hooked it up backwards. So I'll probably just cut this off, and if you want it left on there, you can tell me so. But one thing I would recommend doing is doing some new wiring on this amp. It works okay, works fine the way it is, which we'll demonstrate. But again, it definitely could use a wire upgrade. It's double fused back here in the back, as you can see. And that's pretty much an overview of it. Now, the way this amp works, we're going to toy with it here. These last two buttons work as power settings. So when these two buttons are out, the amp is wide open. It's full blast. It's doing all it can. And you can adjust the power output by the combination of these switches that you have pushed in. So I'll show you guys that here in a second. And what we'll do, we'll start out with them all the way out, and we'll test it on bird average, and then we'll test it on peak, and then I'll do with this button in by itself, this one in by itself, and then I'll do with both of them in, and I'll show you the output on it. But this is a good amp, and I think it'll make somebody a dandy. I just want to test it and make sure everything's good on it. I've already done everything myself before I did this video, but as always, we like to show people kind of what they're getting before they get it. So let's get on with the program here. We're driving it with this Cobra 29 tuned up by Forrest Gump in Alabama. It's stock final. It does about 35 to 38 watts peak, and I think it does about 9 to 10 watts average. So with that being said, let's get on with the show here. 500 watt slug, and we're looking at the middle scale. Our peak kit is not on, and both buttons are out, so we're wide open. We're keying about less than a watt into it. Audio. Swinging 150 strong, average. Audio, maybe 160. Audio. Yeah, 160 or 170 average, no problem. Audio. I'm drawing about 24 amps on my power supply. Let's check it on peak. Audio right at 450, maybe a little less. Audio, 1, 2, hello, test, 1, 2, audio, test, audio. Just a hair under 450. Now, what we'll come over here and do is we'll hit this AM button here, which is gonna take us down a notch, more than likely. That relay's chattering. I'm gonna have to turn the carrier up a little bit. There we go. Audio. 400 watts. Now, when I first keyed that up, you heard it bzz just a little bit. When you go through these different power stages on this amp, you may have to turn your dead key, your carrier up on your radio just a little bit to adjust, because basically it's basically padding it down to where the output's going to be lower. So again, you might have to increase your carrier just a little bit to get the amp to key. We turned it up. We're probably keying. That's about 2.5 watts, just as a guess. And anyway, so just know that when you change the power settings on this, when both are out, it's going to take a lot less dead key to drive it. I mean, we were keying like a watt, maybe less into it, and getting 30 or 40 watts of carrier out before. But when you put these switches in, you're going to have to increase your carrier, your dead key just a little bit. And anyway, back to the output test. We're showing about 400 watts on this setting. So let's go over here, hit this one. Yeah, see? Just bump the carrier up and it's good to go. Audio. See, it's even less. Audio. A little bit over 300. So a little bit less on that setting. Again, we had to turn our dead key up just a little bit, and we're not keying anything outrageous into it. This radio key is about 6 watts, and we're less than halfway. So I would still say in the range of 2.5 to 3 watts right there. And now what we're going to do is come over here, put both switches in. So just as a recap, with both switches out, we're doing about 450, 440. With this switch out, or this switch in by itself, we were doing about 400. With this switch in by itself, we were doing a little bit over 300. So let's see what we do with both of them then. Audio, about 240 or so. Hello, audio, 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 audio. Hello. And if we yell into it kind of funny there, we get almost 250. And we'll just come back over, push them both out. Audio. And we're right back at almost 450 watts. So, the way this thing is staged, again, just to recap, both out is the highest setting you can have. Push this in. This is like high but not max output. It drops it down just a little bit. Then push this in, is a little bit lower. Push this in, and this is the lowest. So that's why it's called a 4 power, because you have 4 power settings on it. Very high, high, medium, low. I hope that makes sense, guys, and I hope I've done all right on this video. If you have any questions about this thing, let me know. I'll be up front with you. I think it's a really good amp, and I think it'll make somebody a killer box. This thing's kind of a beast. I'd run it without hesitation for something that does this kind of power, and heck, the dang relative output meter works, and it's got a built-in sideband delay in it, so I don't think you can go wrong. Bilateral 4 power, basically an old Texas Star is basically what it is. If you're interested in this thing, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535, and we will get back with you and try to make you a good deal on it. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and catch you out there. See you, bye.